Hi guys, I am John Carrick, author of Legacy of a Mad Scientist and the Legend of Ashley Fox. Today we're looking at 100 Bullets number 5, but first we've got the Ten of Swords from World Fantasy Tarot, the Griffin. It's pretty cool. It's kind of a shame there are no six-limbed mammals. You only get 6 limbs on insects. But anyhow, here we go. 100 Bullets number 5, Megan Dietrich. Shot Waterback number 2. This is hilarious. This little bit at the top, I love that they're working in little jokes in here. So these are the two guys who had a fight yesterday, basically Cliff Clavin and Norm from Cheers. Let me adjust this a little bit really quick. So Cliff Clavin here says, hey, why don't we go rustle up some broads? Why don't we go find some girls? He actually says whores. And the other guy says, nah, you know what? I get more of that at home than I can handle. And he goes, okay, then let's go to your place. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. But that's not the story. This is a story. Lee Dolan calls his son, asks him to meet him at the bar at 10 o'clock. Asks him to meet him at 9. The kid says 10. He says he needs to talk to him. It's been 4 years since he had a real conversation with his son. Then he goes back to the strip club. Is complimenting this girl on how beautiful she is. She says her boobs aren't big enough or she'd be working at a better place. She says she wants to get implants. He begs her to come out to the bar for a little party tonight on Yucca. He tells his son it's on Yucca. And Yucca is up in Hollywood, right off Cahuenga. And I know where that's at. So they're still in Los Angeles. There's some other things that happen here that show that they're still in Los Angeles. He's trying to convince her. It's, not a lot of subtext in this, but it's still good. Talking a stripper to come out to a party. Her name is Connie. Not that it matters. Now he goes up to Dietrich's. Oh, we have a bit where, so this is him arriving downtown at a big expensive building. This guy won't hit the floor for him. Number 53, top floor. Dietrich Security Corporation. Now that could mean a lot of different things. Securities are like stocks and bonds, right? They're also physical security, could be a security agency. But it's really about money. She is a member of the Trust, the 13 Families. That's what that brooch was. That little pin that he stole off of her jacket. He delivers it to her, tells her that it got lost and was turned in. And then they have this 4 to 6 page back and forth. He pulls the gun on her, asks her why she doesn't recognize him. She's like, should I? He explains that 4 years ago, she dumped all that kiddie porn on his computer and destroyed his life. She explains that she had gotten high and drunk with some of her friends and that it was just a prank. It was nothing personal. Then she starts adding zeros to his bank account and his children's bank account. Meanwhile, across the street, I love this. This is very Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, the sort of braided storyline thing that I really adore. This is the view from across the street. Actually, this is a view from down a few floors. But across the street, this guy has just killed these guys. She is still negotiating with him, telling him it wasn't personal. Giving him money, offering to clean his record, to, wipe everything away. She can do that with the touch of a button. This is Lono. He is the guy who has just killed these fellas. This helicopter is circling. It's coming for him. She is talking her way out of it, to put it mildly. She's talking her way out of it. Lee Dolan is not as committed to his cause as he should be. But he didn't protect himself, so anyhow, they have a drink together. He is in the office way too long. He is listening to her way too much. She has got that sort of silky smooth, an answer for everything. He's still not having it, but see, this is weird. He's negotiating with her. Once you start negotiating, you have to be clear that you're negotiating, and now you're not committing murder anymore. If you're going to kill someone, you do it immediately, without question. I mean, he's a civilian, right? He has no military experience. He has no experience of any kind. He's probably never even fired a gun. Lono drinking a beer, waiting for this helicopter to show up. Again, she is really smooth talking him. There's a little bit of back and forth, and none of it's important. This is the guy on the helicopter shooting at Lono, shoots out the window. There's not really a lot to say. I kind of want to leave it up just for you guys to see. This is like 10 or 12 pages on this negotiation between Lee and Megan. Maybe even more. I mean, it's most of the comic book, really. I don't know what they're drinking. Never accept a drink from someone you want to murder. You know, there's like some basic rules not being followed here. I don't remember any of these shows. Oh, I guess that's an album. Harsh Realm, I never watched that. It's an ad a couple pages back. Anyhow, he leaves the gun. She tells him that if she's going to investigate who wants to have her murdered, I mean, she has a point, right? Someone gave him the gun and put him up to murder, and obviously they have an agenda. And her only way of figuring out who that is if he leaves it behind. At the very end, she says, "Oh, Mr. Dolan, you stole my brooch, didn't you? So you're not an honest man after all." If he had walked in and said, "Hey, I stole this from you last night so that I could walk in here today and murder you," he didn't do that. He led with a lie. He led with this lie that someone had left it behind and he had found it. And then he drew the gun and pointed it at her. So at first she was super happy, but then he sticks a gun in her face. So he kind of gets what he deserves a little bit. She blows his brains out. And he didn't even see it coming. He really didn't even see it coming. He has no idea who he's dealing with. But now we do. Now the audience knows. And this is an interesting bit too. In 1999, you could take 5 issues to start the story. Nowadays, you'd have to, nowadays they'd have had to crush these 5 issues into 1 issue somehow. And that's really hard. It was the same thing with TV shows. TV shows used to get a few episodes to get their legs for the audience to find them. Not anymore. You got to catch them in the first 10 minutes. The first act, the cold open, really has to capture the audience. Audiences are more sophisticated. Audiences have grown up with television. As a matter of fact, TV and movies, the television really is the medium of our time. I suppose at one time it was magazines, and one time it was word of mouth. It was traveling minstrels, right? Wandering around singing songs. But now, comics, movies, everything has to build itself around television. As they say, everything is a reply. Any published work is a reply to everything the author has seen in their life. So these guys bust in. She tells them to get rid of him, that he doesn't exist. She deletes him. Then she makes a phone call. This is where the story really starts. She tells this guy out in his cabana in front of his pool that Graves isn't dead. She knows exactly what happened and who did this to her, right? Shepard still works for the trust. Shepard was Graves' protege. Graves has gone off the reservation, sees the trust as the biggest threat to all of humanity. which essentially they are. You know, they say it's the 50 richest Jews. The Illuminati is 13 families. Either or, yes and, you know, doesn't at that level they don't really see themselves as, I would have to imagine they don't see themselves as ethnics. You know, I heard someone say that inside of 5 generations you're related to everyone anyhow, and you don't really have family. So wanting to leave something for your family is ego, you know, of course it is. That's legacy. The Buddhists had a saying, to come and go without leaving a trace. They would have never dreamed of signing their own name to the sutras they write. They say it's inspired by the Buddha. They would never put their own name on it. So this guy's so mad about graves, he kills his dog. Giant Marmaduke of a dog. Then we get a page of everyone at the bar waiting for Lee to show up. His son is there. The stripper's there. She buys him a drink. Lee doesn't show up, and that's it. And I don't know why we're getting STP. There's been a few of these now, like synthetic motor oil ads in comic books. I suppose they thought comic book readers were mechanics. It's a strange thought. Better to put in ads for TV and video games. So that's 2 of 2. Hey guys, I am John Carrick, author of Legacy of a Mad Scientist and Legend of Ashley Fox. Science fiction, fantasy, audiobooks, ebooks, and novels for you guys on Amazon, Smashwords, right here on YouTube. 100 Bullets, number 5. There's a lot I want to talk about with this one, but I'm going to work it into what I've got going on. This is the Griffin. Today's conflicted card is the 6 of Clubs. Is that the 6? Yeah. And this one says Thad. I guess it was a person traveling with Morgan. That is an Indonesian name, if I've ever heard one. He accidentally shot someone during an escape attempt. Who's trying to escape from whom? I imagine they had a captive who tried to escape from them. This person is bleeding to death. And apparently you can't take him back to his main group because they will attack you. I don't know. The card doesn't make a lot of sense. I think the people who wrote it knew what was going on, but they didn't put enough details on the card. If someone's bleeding to death, don't let them, well, it's not going to take very long, right? 5 seconds, 15 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds here. Doesn't take long. It might be a little bit longer. It might be a couple minutes on your wrists, depending on how many of them you get. But yeah, doesn't take long at all. And what did I want to talk about? So with this, yesterday, business is war. That's the title for today's show. And if you're not aware of that, and you end up in like Elon Musk, you think he doesn't have people trying to kill him? From what I understand, he sleeps with like several guns beside him. As well he should. This doesn't leave my side. Not anymore. Not over the last few weeks. And it's not because of my eyes, because things are changing in the world. Things are changing fast. And if you don't know where your weapon is, we had, when you go out into the field in boot camp, one of the first things they do when you go out like into the field for a couple weeks, the night that you march out and you set up the tents and everything, you arrive actually at a series of tents that are already set up. And we had to set those up ourselves. But once you get the tents and the cots set up, the drill instructors go through and steal a few rifles because no one has been told that you have to have your rifle in your hands or like right next to you at all times. You really do. If you don't have it, you don't have it. You're worthless. And so for Lee to give up this gun, he's an idiot. He should have shot her. He should have just walked in and shot her and have that be it. He would have to shoot it out with the security guards and wouldn't have made it, but at least he'd have his soul. And the thing I wanted to say, so working in fashion and television as long as I did, I met a lot of really rich, connected women. And they are idiots. They are absolute idiots. They're the worst psychopaths, the worst sociopaths. They are complete snakes because they have no physical ability. All they have is ambition and hate. And resentment for the fact that they weren't born a man. The guys can fight it out. The guys come to a level of mutual respect based on how much experience you have. That's one of the reasons I love this book, The Robe, so much. Demetrius, who is Marcellus's slave, commands as much respect as Marcellus with every room he walks into because he's capable, because he could kill anyone he meets. And he was a Greek warrior before he was a slave. So even a slave can have dignity. But it depends on how well you know yourself and how well you know your own capabilities. I just saw today, here's a good example of business as war. This is a headline I just read 20 minutes ago. 4 Texas deputies in one precinct all committed suicide within the last week. You think that's by mistake? No. They knew something and they were suicided. And after the first one, the powers that be, the people who were doing it, we got to get them all. What is anyone going to do? Once it's been ruled as suicide, all the investigations stop. So there was also a thing going on a while ago. A whole bunch of food processing plants experienced fires and uncontrollable disasters. And then you saw Jewish-run food plants opening up and advertising to fill those gaps. I saw it in the news. Especially a pizza one. There was a pizza one that was really big. There was a huge pizza packing plant. And within a week, there was all these ads for this new pizza place. And this Jew had put himself right in the advertising. That he was the founder and the owner. And if you think that guy didn't have think that guy didn't have his competition burnt out, you're an idiot. And you deserve what you get. This is the world you live in. Business is war. So be aware. Right now, I'm an author, yeah? But I went to animation school, like I explained, and I'm well on my way to developing a brand that's going to support comics, TV, and not just video games, but Dave & Buster's style video games. I'm going to have my girl riding a hoverboard that you can go to Dave & Buster's and strap yourself into a pair of snowmobile boots and ride a hoverboard surrounded by screens. And you'll be able to bet on it. I'm going to have an online casino. And if you think there won't be people out there trying to take advantage of that, you're insane. And if you think I won't be at the front of confronting my enemies, you're also insane. That's absolutely what I'm going to do. There's a scene in Dogma where Ben and Matt go up to the Golden Calf Corporation. And that was always my dream. If I ever got invited to Warner Brothers or Universal or Paramount or any of these Jew-run studios for my stuff, I was just going to walk in there and murder all the executives just for fun. That's obviously not going to happen. We'll see if I can bring it about some other way. See you guys tomorrow.